All right, let's start out crawling. You guys have seen me crawl before, and watch that you're going contralaterally. It's always fun when you're crawling to throw in a tripod transition and just continue crawling wherever you're crawling. And as always, step overs, getting the height, getting that hip flexor working. Want to do some step overs. Doesn't have to be super high. Just play with what you can find. It's all just about changing up your gait and getting the hips to move in a different way. So, love merry-go-rounds. It's great to get a nice wide stance and get some spinning happening. If there's some resistance with these little merry-go-rounds, it's a great workout for your core, and as always, you're going to want to change direction. So grab that merry-go-round and head off the other way. It's also great for that hand-eye coordination, getting that rhythm going, and get nice and low and get that shift of weight from one foot right into the other foot. And give it a stop. I love swings. Swings are great. So get your feet up on a swing if you feel comfortable. As always, you don't have to do this, but even if you just hold plank, that's a great way to get the body in a different position and get some weight into your hands and shoulders. Plank to pike is always fun and challenging. So maybe get onto those hands. Do watch the ground. As always, disclaimer, pay attention to your environment. Swings are also great for getting into lunges. Now, do watch with the lunges. Getting that back foot on a swing can take a little bit of practice. Every swing is a little bit different, and it depends on what shoes you're wearing too. So play with where you put your foot. I think I ended up having to put like my whole foot on that swing. And then depending on how far out you go, like how far out I was hopping, depends on how challenging it is and how much that swing supports you. Do hinge forward slightly while you're lunging forward. It helps to keep the deeper stretch out of that hip flexor on your back leg. We don't need to stretch that hip flexor so much in this movement. I want it to be about that front leg. And as always, switch sides. Don't just do one side. Each side's going to be a little bit different. And great thing about working on these lunges on swings, you can see it does also take balance. So play with it. If your balance isn't the greatest, get somebody beside you to give you some extra support. But lunges are great. See that picnic table behind me there too. You can always use that picnic table. Now, this tripod transition vault was a little sketchy because not only was it kind of, mossy, but there's that sharp point to it. So there was not much balance in this, but it's a great way to get a good stretch and that tripod transition that gets that core stability and balance working over time. Stepping under things is always a great stretch. Really, like when you step underneath, it's such a good stretch for the back. And you can see the people in the background were looking at me funny too. Now these duckies, I had to get these duckies into the shot. Change up your gait pattern while you walk, right? You can do grapevines. You can hop side to side like this. It's a great way to get that extra movement in your feet. So change it up. Do watch where you're going. That poor little duck thought I was going to step on him. But walking backwards, always a good one as well. Backwards walking. Try it. So hips, getting the hips moving, always benefit. So here I'm drawing my knee forward and I'm going to turn around and I'm going to take it behind me. Get that whole hip socket doing some work. Also great for balance. And there were lots of ducks and a pigeon. All right, let's move into jumping. Jumping is a great reactive landing movement, swinging the legs, finding a point to land on. Remember, it's a 2-foot landing. Good. That's a 1-leg swing jump. Next, 2-foot standing broad jump. And it can be a little dicey because you are typically jumping a little bit further, but it's possible. The broad jump, you can actually jump a little bit further than in that 1-leg swing jump. So here, I'm going back, I'm doing some more. And you just reach for it. You reach for it and you land. So I added this in. This is a wall I decided to try and climb on. It was a great backdrop, but those rock walls, stone walls, they are not stable. And I ended up having to somehow get off of this unstable stone wall because crawling on it was a little bit too complex for what I wanted to do that morning. So always do watch what you're crawling on. Now, afterwards, getting some stretches in. Oh, England was great for this because there seemed to be stone walls everywhere, and this stone wall was a great height for my hips. Doesn't have to be as high. You can just even take this to the ground, even to a chair. Just get your foot up, get a little bit of rotation in. Always a good stretch for that back glute and the lower back. All right, next stretch is upper body. Oh, getting those shoulders to stretch out. I'm not letting my ribs drop. I'm connecting through my shoulder to those shoulder blades. And a little bit of wiggle with the hips, side to side, is always good for the side body. Now, quick Achilles stretch. One leg goes in front and then you draw your toes up, okay? You can do the other foot. And that's about it for the movement aspect of this trip.